love to do a class or do a field course to Argentina, but I got to do this. So that's one thing I really wish we could do. I wish we could offer.
How does that connect to retention?
The quality, well...
Just like go ahead.
When you look at what's offered and you see there's, like in chemistry, there's this class and this class, that's it.
You came in wanting to study biology, you take some classes, and then after a while,
like we could only run 2 upper levels a year.
Right.
Which is reasonable for the numbers of students we have, but probably not to the student. Yeah. Like, why do I just see... Because they don't actually know when they're looking at other schools that all these courses that they see in their catalog, they're not running all the time either. Right. So, but I think that I would like to see... It would be great to just see... We're doing this interesting thing with the calendar. I don't know if they told you. Not this year, but next year we're going to do like a 3.5 block, and then a 12-week. So we're changing up the calendar to kind of, I think, revitalize the
classroom sort of
just everything.
rhythm.
So it's just a different way to approach where the courses that are required aren't going to change, but like they asked us, we'll change. What courses could you teach in 3.5 weeks, where the student would only be taking one course? I'm like, well, I can come up with some of those. Yeah. And I think the students would like that too, so that everything isn't just like this 15 weeks, 15 weeks.
We have worked for Colorado College before.
Oh. And
they have the block plan, you know?
Yeah, that's actually, this is where this little brainchild has come from.
3.5 weeks at a time, and it's funny that they, that's all they have, for one thing. And the degree to which it just like completely structures their whole existence is profound. They talk about like, oh, see you next block, or, one thing that happened last block, or, they just like, it's a unit of measure. It's the most important unit of measure for them. You have like block boyfriends and, there's like those little things. Yeah, it's a trip, but it's really fascinating. And it's interesting when you're trying to kind of mess around with the schedule in that way. What is it in response to?
I'm guessing it's in response to retention.
Okay. More being able to offer more interesting little tidbits.
That's exactly what it will do. Like I noticed, I'm starting to look at schools, and I visited Skidmore last week with my 17-year-old, and my 17-year-old could care less about most of this stuff. Yeah. So I don't know, but I was like, ooh, each freshman takes they give you this 15. You pick one of these 15 classes, and it's like, I think it's only one, or I don't know how many credits it is. It's in addition to other classes that you take, but whoever you take that class for becomes your advisor for the whole first year. Mm-hmm. And so my son was looking through it. There was one on sports medicine or sports something. And he's like, oh, I could take that. I could take a class like that as a freshman. I was like, well, yeah, it's right here. It's on the list. Right. But they were really interesting titles. Now, whether they're as exciting as they sound, who knows? But the fact that person that you're drawn to that title and you want to take that class, and then that person's your advisor for the year, it was just a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
So
is the block thing? Is it like CC where it's one course the whole time?
Yeah, you only take. Right. We're only teaching one, and they're only taking one course.
Right. Yeah. I mean, not to go off topic, but once we learned about that, it all of a sudden starts to seem weird to do anything different.
Yeah.
Like it starts to seem like some kind of weird mental violence to like send a kid to Russian at 8:00 and then economics at 9:30.
Oh, it's like high school.
It just sort of seems like, how are we doing that to students? Whereas you just get to come in and you're just like,
in the zone.
History, arc between the wars.
Yeah.
For 3 weeks.
Yeah.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so it's. Do you think it's part of a larger evolution, or do you think it's just kind of a short-term experiment? Like, how do you see that?
No, I see it as part of is a trajectory, because we're also playing around with having centers here. I'm not quite sure. We're just in the beginning stages of that, where one might be focused on, for lack of a better word, I think like human flourishing. So it'd be like psychology, but the biology that I teach, because I'm interested in plants, but I'm also like humans. Yeah. So I could see myself like my courses being in that, where students would come in and associate with a center, And so they would have like a center cohort, not because our majors are so little. Like you might be like, our major's big, relatively speaking, but like philosophy, there's like, 5 of them,
Yeah.
So it's hard to build a cohort. So if you come in, you're in this center with all of these majors, and then you have like center activities and center things that you do. And then the idea is that for your liberal arts, you would be taking a certain amount, you'd actually be taking courses in different centers. So it would give you more flexibility for the types of courses you can take for your liberal arts. Right now we have these categories like most people have. They're different. I think they're better.
What are the categories again?
The what?
What are the categories again? I know the model, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, well, we have historical perspectives. We have aesthetics. We have, there's the quantitative reasoning. There's the natural systems, like the science. Moral reasoning, moral beliefs. And I think those are all of them, I'm trying to think.
And the requirement is one of each?
One of each and then one extra one,
Right.
I think is what it is.
For all
like
students.
one of each and then for all students. And I think I'm thinking I'm leaving one out because I think you're supposed to end up with 7 of them. And then you take the images, voices, dimensions, and delegate. You take all those, which are core environmental liberal arts courses that everybody takes. So everybody takes those 4, and then you get to pick amongst you have to fulfill the distribution, but there might be 6 different classes you could take for that distribution.
Yeah. Okay. Can you give me an example of something you've done? You mentioned a couple of students earlier in our conversation. Do you have any other stories about students that you've worked with recently that sort of encapsulate the Green Mountain experience?
Sure. Let me see. Well, I'll tell you about Tyne, because she's gone through a really interesting transformation. She's from Vietnam, so she grew up in communist Vietnam. Very, very different and interesting. And then she comes here, and then she's a psychology major. And she likes psychology, but she's then I meet her as a sophomore, where she's starting to take a bunch of bio classes, and that's good. But that's not. So then we do a self-design in biopsychology. Jen Sellers and I and Tyne, we get together. We're like, okay, what do you want to do? And we design her whole curriculum for her in this new major, biopsychology. We look at biopsych majors all over the place. Because she's very interested in philosophy as well, and so then she's going along like this, and
just to interrupt, at that point, is she preparing? She's going to get like a degree in biopsychology.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
What you call
So
it?
her degree will be in biopsychology,
Right.
and she doesn't really know what she wants to do, but because of the liberal arts, she's taken a lot of classes in a lot of different areas. And remember, communist Vietnam. Atheist, it's like against the law to even explore these other things. And, so she starts exploring philosophy, she starts exploring religion, all of these different classes. Well, so in her personal, spiritual life, she's made a complete 360, and actually she's, I think she's going to convert to Muslim, to Islam. She's going to be Muslim. So that was just interesting, to have this happen. And her thesis defense, I'm on her, it's me, Bill Troop, and the head of the wellness, because it's about basically determinism and then everything else, and how it makes up our moral belief system, and how to sort of rectify the spiritual and the scientific realm in a meaningful way to apply to neuropsychology, because she's going to the Mayo Clinic to do neurotherapeutics.
And she's probably, 21, 22?
Yeah. Yeah. And she's, so that's Tyne. She's just where everything has just blossomed here.
That seems like the kind of experience that you could only get at a place like this, where you're exposed to all that stuff, but also just people who care about it. It's one thing if you're taking a bunch of classes, right?
Yeah.
You got to fill requirements, you take classes, but if each of those, I presume you're in a room, fairly small room,
right,
with someone who really cares about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, I appreciate it. Anything that you want to tell me about this place and why, or what you like about it, or what you, if I could pick exactly the students you wanted for your next intro class, what they'd be like? Anything else?
I need them to be funny and get my puns. They need to be willing to laugh. They need to laugh at them. They can laugh at me, and they need to be able to laugh at themselves too. So someone who takes themselves serious, but not too seriously.